The Straw Hats were shocked when they found out that there was a highly advanced kingdom, just like Egghead, 900 years ago. Shaka explained that an archaeology gave his life and brought the existence of that kingdom to light. The timeline also happened to match up with the period, known as the Void Century, when a certain machine was made. The Void Century is actually the history of a war between that extremely advanced civilization and 20 kingdoms. 20 kingdoms won the war and later developed the world government. Then, the government erased all the traces of that futuristic city. Shaka believes that O'Hara was leveled by the Navy's Buster called 22 years ago because they found out the existence of that kingdom. Several months after it happened, he went there to pay tribute to the great logist, Dr. Koga. He was flabbergasted when he found out the lake in the center of the island, which is full of books and papers of all kinds. All the scholars of O'Hara, including Nico Olivia, died protecting the fortune they wished to leave behind for the future of the world. During his trip, Vegapunk also saw Gantz, led by Joggingly, Saul, retrieving the books from the lake. In fact, he also met with Monkey D. Dragon, who went there with the same purpose. Dragon said he will create an army that can actually fight back the government and change the world. Later, Vegapunk traveled to Elbaf and read all the books Giants rescued. After the explanation, he asked the Straw Hats to follow him. Meanwhile, Luffy and others found a gigantic broken robot, Fabria phase of Egghead. Then, they saw an old man stuck in there and saved him. It turned out that the old man is no other than the world's smartest man, Dr. Vegapunk. Dr. Vegapunk said he cut off his head because it grew too long. He is actually the user of brain fruit, but his brain physically grows depending on the amount of data it holds. So he stored all the knowledge in the labor phase instead. He said that one day the whole humanity will be able to share a brain just like him, and his 6 clones can share the Punk records. However, Bonnie did not forget the reason she came and asked Dr. Vegapunk to turn her father back to him. But the tool she used to threaten Dr. Vegapunk turned out to be a failure and attracted an enormous cloud of insects. She was stunned and passed out when she saw the insect. He also confirmed that the devil fruit Momonosuke was also a failed product. The broken robot in front of them is actually the legendary Iron Giant that was made 900 years ago. The same giant also attacked Marahoa about 200 years ago. The rest of the Straw Hats are watching Team Luffy via camera and also discussing about the gigantic robot. Then, they got the entry request from Cypher Pole. Since Shaka has already knew their true intention, he refused to give them permission. At the same time, Kuma automatically activated for some reason and left the Revolutionary Army. Pythagoras expressed his gratitude towards Cypher Pole for returning the Seraphim, and then asked them to just leave. Since they have been surrounded by Mecha Sea Beasts, Lucci decided to abandon the ship and used the Paw Paw Fruit's power to reach the island. Luffy was surprised when Dr. Vegapunk asked him to help him take off from Egghead. The truth is Dr. Vegapunk had dug a bit too deep into the past, and now, the government is planning to eliminate him just like they did to O'Hara. Meanwhile, Cypher Pole have already entered the town. Shaka told the residents to evacuate, and Atlas to come back to the lab. Then, he sent Seraphim Snake, Hawk and Shark along with Sentomaru to defend the Fabria phase. After getting the approval from Luffy, Dr. Vegapunk told him to go to the Lava phase first. Then, he just vanished into the air. Kaku tried to fight the hologram beast back and then go to the lab not knowing the defensive system of Lava phase, called the Frontier Dome. Then, Atlas arrived and tried to attack Cypher Pole. Unfortunately, she was one-shot by Rob Lucci and her head was completely destroyed. Then, Lucci saw the Straw Hat Luffy who happened to pass there. Kaku told Lucci not to attack Luffy as he is now an Emperor of the Sea. Then, Stussy told them to inform the Navy first. Luffy asked Chopper and Jinbei to bring Bonnie and Atlas back to the Lava phase. After getting the report from Cypher Pole, Fleet Admiral Akainu realized that Vegapunk had already recruited Straw Hat to his side and decided to send the Admiral, Kizaru, to help the CP0. However, the fight between Luffy and Lucci has already started. Just like Luffy, Rob Lucci had also awakened his devil fruit. When Dr. Vegapunk saw the Gear 5, he said that Luffy looked like the foolish and laughable warrior of liberation known as Nika, the Sun God. He further expounds that even though his name has been erased from history records, he will still exist as long as people wish for him. The clash of Luffy and Lucci went wild. Then, Sentomaru arrived and commanded both the Seraphims he brought and the Seraphim's cipher pole brought to wipe out the agents. Navy Science Team Captain, Sentomaru has the higher authority towards Seraphims than authority chip owners, cipher pole. But his order can also be outclassed by Dr. Vegapunk and 5 elders. So, Lucci defeated him in the blink of an eye and tried to take over control of Seraphim's back. Sentomaru said he blocked Lucci's attack but miserably failed. When Lucci tried to knock him out, Luffy grabbed Lucci and threw him away. As Sentomaru is still conscious, S-Hawk and S-Shark are wiping the floor with cipher pole agents. One of the Seraphim is even using the power of Swim Fruit. But Dr. Vegapunk confirms that Senor Pink is still alive and being held and impelled down. The fruit S-Shark possesses is only an artificial version of Senor Pink's fruit. With the help of green blood Vegapunk created, S-Snake can also use the power of Love Fruit just like the pirate empress, Boa Hancock. After fighting Luffy back, Lucci tried to finish Sentomaru again. But Luffy dashed towards him and attempted to swallow him. Lucci managed to dodge it, so Luffy blew him out with the pieces of ground that he accidentally swallowed. Then, he used the pipeline as a catapult and struck himself to Lucci. After beating the shit out of Lucci, Luffy and the others went to the Leba phase via a vacuum rocket. Unfortunately, Sentomaru has already passed out by the time they reach the Leba phase. Cipher Pole has now regained the control of Seraphims. Apparently, Kizaru is also close to the island of Egghead and leading a massive fleet to eliminate both Vegapunks and the Straw Hats.